וכאשר אתה עצמי בשיח הזו עם החברים, בכל הצדיקים המתים של רנו, בכל הצדיקים המתים של חניו הקדוש שמשפרצים הפרט רבינו הקדוש, tzadik, יסוד אוילו, אנחנו במקור חוכמה רבינו נחמן, בן שמחו, בן פגה, זכות המאוגן עלינו והכל ישראל, במרו עומד. So last week's Shiur, if you guys remember, we were talking about something, a very big concept in Judaism, in Yiddishkeit, and the concept is called Mashiach. We spoke about Mashiach, there's two types of Mashiachs. One of the Mashiachs is called in its time, and one is that it could come earlier. What does that mean? It means that God, the Abister, sent the Rebbeinu Shalom set up in the world that Am Yisrael is going to be redeemed in the last redemption at a certain time, a certain second, and by that second it has to happen, no matter if we're willing for it or not. But there's another type of Geula, which is a different Geula, which is that we can bring it earlier than this time. And then we spoke about that there's two types of Geulas for a person himself. There's the Geula that's the general Geula, and then there's the Geula that each person finds his own redemption. Each person goes through his own difficulties and very, 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 very hard, difficult and yisurim and different things that all the traumas and everything that people go through. And that's the real Geula. The real Geula is by you working on yourself and grabbing onto the emunah and being strong in your emunah and bitachon Abister and overriding everything and beating out the Yitzhahara and saying, I don't care, HaShem, I'm with you no matter what. That is the biggest Geula. And like we said, the Be'etzim, all the times, like if you look in the Zohar, in Kabbalah, all the tzadikim always talking about how maybe this year it's going to come and this year and it didn't happen. So I saw Be'etzim, the Kamarna, in Richla Bloch, I think it is, the Kamarna Rebbe, who lived about 150 years ago, writes that Be'etzim, Avraham Avinoo was saying that he said this was the case. But he was saying it lafi his tikkun. What does that mean? That means that each tzadik is being mitaken on different parts. Etzem Am Yisrael is like a body, and we have to be mitaken the head, the eyes, and then further and further. And right now we're at the ikvas Mashiach, which is the heel. We're at the bottom. Well, we said the bottom is really the highest because the bottom is the closest to the top. Like we said, the last generation is like the Arizal said. What's the last generation? Last generation is to mitaken Gibul for 2,000 years. That means when we're going through our hardships, we're being metaket something that could be 2,000 years old, that we have no idea Cheshbon is Ein Sof in Abister. Be'etzim, so every time they say it's called Kitzin, that means there's end. Each tzadikim, they were saying it to their bechen, to their tikkun. When they saw that their metaket, what they did, for them that was the case. So Be'etzim wasn't that they were making mistakes, Rajbi knew exactly what he was saying, but he was talking about his tikkun. And then we spoke about how in Mashiach there's two mitzvahs. One mitzvah is believing Mashiach, which we said the Ramak. The Smak in his Sefer of mitzvahs. He says that it's a mitzvah d'oraisa to believe in Mashiach, and he learns it from the Tzias Mitzrayim. He says from the pasuk of Anochi Hashem Lekecho, just like you believe in the Abister, and the Abister is going to redeem you, so it's the same mitzvah be'etzim. And he says also it's based in the Gemara Chulun. There's a famous Gemara Chulun. The Gemara says in Zayin Mabez, Gemara Shteit in the Gemara, that a person cannot move his finger unless in Shemaim they call out and say you can move your finger. That means every tnuah, every single movement that is done is only because the Abister gives you permission. Levi took Bender from the Gedolei Breslev, from the previous generation, used to say that if Hashem Abister wasn't with you for 1 second, Hashem would be dead. It's bullshit. The Gemara says also a person has to say thank you to Hashem for every single second. He has to say thank you, because really every second that he's breathing is to say thank you. I deserve another breath. So that's really what are we trying to say? We're trying to say is that obviously if the Abish is doing all this, so the Abish says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. What's interesting is he based on Yitzis P'Shem Yenoch Hashem Lekecha, and Be'etzim the Ramchal has a whole sefer called Maimar Geula, and Ramchal's whole sefer is based on that this Geula is compared to the Geula in Mitzrayim, that's very, very, very similar, but it's going to be on a much higher level. Like we spoke about, that Yitzis P'Shem is almost going to be forgotten. Not Chashem is going to be forgotten, but it's going to be like a tafel. It's going to be not the Iker. The Iker is going to be this. And then we spoke about other things about what Mashiach is and what our job is. Our job is our own tikkun, because the etzem what Mashiach is that what happened was we really come from one neshama. Adam Rishon was one person. When he broke the Shiur Sakelim, what did we do? If an Eitz Hadas, what's Eitz Hadas? What it means, the tree of knowledge. Knowledge is now what? Is machshava. He was makalkel his machshava. The machshava of all the mitzvahs in him, and it became a Shiur Sakelim. It's a tremendous deep insight in Kabbalah, but the point is, and that's what happens, all the Nitzitzis spread out all over the world, and that's why the Jews have been exiled everywhere all at times, and we're collecting Nitzitzis, and each person has his tikkun. And Be'etzem, that's what we said in the Gemara, that if somebody, Gemara says, famous Gemara, and Be'etzem it's Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi says that a person, in his time, the Beis Mikdash wasn't built, it's like destroyed it. So we said, what do you mean, destroyed it? The answer is yes. Because all the time that you're not being metaken yourself, you're being ma'akev the goal from coming. We spoke about at length a lot about this, what the Indian is, and Nitzitzis, and all the things. And Nitzitzis, with Bora Gemara, it says that ki seitze eish, matzah koitzim, it's Mishnah Baba Kama, in Koinis. So we said the Mishnah says, the Gemara says it goes on Beis Mikdash. The Pshat is also, the Mekubalim, the learn of the Pshat, I think the Chaim Vital even says this, or the Arizal says, ki matzah eish, when the eish went out, there was a shvira, there was fire, the Nitzitzis went out, u'matzah kelam, u'matzah, and it started burning everything, the Nitzitzis were burning, what? We have to pay, Shalmi Shalmim, the person who made the fire. We have to go now and collect the Nitzitzis and rebuild it. And then we'll rebuild the Beis HaMikdash. Then we asked a beautiful question. We said, very simple question. What do you mean? 3 generations ago, then we bring Mashiach, we're going to bring Mashiach. So we said from the Sfasemis answers that no, Mashiach is not it's a process. It's a tzadik, it's a process. That means that each generation has to add on, and we're right now, we're putting on the doorknobs and the light bulbs and the small little things. But we said also that really it could be that because the tests in our generation are so big, that even though we're putting on the small things, it's bigger than doing the biggest things. Because the bigger the tests are, the harder to do. Another thing we said was, another answer is that we said, is that really no, in a Chanami, that maybe our generation is higher because of the tests. So yeah, this generation that we're going on to the 50th of Tumah, we said that before Mashiach comes, you have to bring the tzitzis from all the dargis of Tumah. It's 50 Shari Tumah. What is the 50th Shari Tumah? The Chazon Ish, Chavetz Chaim, everybody says the Kamar and Sefer says it's Apikorsis. Apikorsis has never been bigger than today. What's Apikorsis? People say Apikorsis is all the philosophical. No. Apikorsis also is neo from all these things. That is Apikorsis. That is taking away from a person's tafkid in life. That's Apikorsis. Really. Apikorsis is that I'm not focusing on my tafkid. My tafkid is serving the Eibishter. I'm an Eved HaShem, I serve him. What he says do, and what he says don't do, I don't do. Now that I don't do, God forbid something, Chas v'Shalom, not I, because we should never talk about ourselves in that way, but it's something else, then hypothetically, the point is he is going away from the tafkid. So that's be'etzem apikorsis. It's like he doesn't care. He's putting a curtain over and saying, "Oh Hashem, you don't see me." Ki'ilu. Of course, there's no such a thing. That's just a little bit of what we spoke about last week. This week, I'd like to speak about this Hashem, about the end of times, not what's going to be after, but current events and currently what we're going through and what is this generation and how we see things are playing out. I'd like to start off, there's a few things, guys, this week. Sorry, this week I'm going to have to look in the papers a little bit, a lot of gematrias and things that I wrote down. So, pardon me if I'm a bit with the papers and all that. First of all, this year is Tafshin Ayin Hey, right? Tafshin Ayin Hey is 5775. What's 5775? Tafshin Ayin Hey. What else is Tafshin Ayin Hey? Tehei Shnat Et Ageulah. Wow. This year should be the time of redemption. A remez in the year of Tafshin Ayin Hey. This year should be the Geulah. The Zohar says, by the way, this famous Zohar, the Zohar says that before the Geulah comes, what's going to happen is that the whole world is all going to come up to Yerushalayim, march to Yerushalayim, which is basically the Zohar's talking about the war of Gog and Magog. And what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that they're all going to surround Yerushalayim. There's going to be a big siege and all that. And it says in the pasuk, "Eis tzari Yaakov umimeno yivasher." What does that mean? From this tremendous sorrow, which is going to be this tremendous war, what's going to happen? We're going to be safe from that. What does that mean? That we're going to have to go through this hardship, but from that is going to be the Geulah Shlema B'ezrat Hashem, which is Mashiach. What's interesting is, you see that what does it mean the whole world? That includes America and all these things. You see, the past few months, you see since the last summer, it's terrible what's going on. How America, Bibi and Obama, first of all, they're arch enemies. It's clear. And how America is not as supportive of Israel as they used to be, and you see it's already a shvira. There's a breakage in the world of the support for Israel, and we see it leading up to a thing that yes, they can come to a place like the Zohar saying that it's from to such a scary incident that people will come, the whole world, and surrounding Yerushalayim, chas v'shalom. This is what the Zohar says. Medrash Rashbi, there's a Medrash Rashbi, says something amazing. Listen to this. HaMelech sheyamod aleim, this king that will bring all the armies to Yerushalayim, will stand upon them. Oyev kesef, loves money, v'zov and gold, v'hu ish shachor, v'gava koma. The Medrash says this person will be black. It says shachor will be black. Let's see what that means. In Yecheskel, Novi Yecheskel, in Perek Lamed Ches, Pasuk Beis, this is the Lashon of the Pasuk. Listen to the Lashon, tremendous. Goig Nosi Rosh Moshiach V'Tuvo. Those words is talking about Goig the Nasi, the Melech of Goig, Rosh the head, Moshiach V'Tuvo. You have to see the story there. Yecheskel is talking about this Nevuah about Goig and Magog. Those words explain the Nasi is exactly the Gematria equals 1,670. It's exactly Gematria. Listen to this, the Artzot HaBrit America. That Gog, who was going to be? The one that supported Israel the whole time? It's all based on the Zohar Kadosh. Everything's going to flip around, and they're going to be Gog. Who? America. Crazy. Let's see. Let's see where this goes. Let's see weiter. It equals up also adding in with the words. Goig, Nasi, Rosh, Moshiach, V'Tuv. You have to add them in. You know, in Remez you could add in the words, and it comes into, adds in exactly like America. By the way, another thing. It says in the Pasuk, Eretz HaMogoig. Do you know Eretz HaMogeg with the Oisius? Another type of gematria is where you count the Oisius also. You ready for this? Is the gematria of 356, which equals America exactly. 356. 100% accurate. Incredible. Another thing, the Milo, the word Roish. Roish. It's a Goig Nosi Roish. You ready for this? Is the gematria Barack Hussein Obama. 501 exactly. Who is the Goig Nosi Roish? Who? Barack Obama. 501. Exactly the word Rosh. Listen to this. This is bidiyuk the same number as what? This equals to Tov Kuf Aleph. Tov Kuf Aleph is also 501. There's a tefillah from Rav Shimon of Ashtapali, Shimshon, excuse me, right? Shimshon of Ashtapali was a tremendous tzadik. He has a tefillah in Erev Pesach to say, and in Erev Pesach, the tefillah, he says the sar of all the Malachi Kabbalah, all the Malachim that come, Klipot and everything, is called Tov Kuf Aleph. The exact thing which is Rosh, which is Goy, which is going to come and want to destroy Eretz Yisrael. Because really, what is he? He's all the Malachim Mechablim. He's all the Mechablim. All the terrorists. Everything. He's the one who wants to destroy Eretz Yisrael, which equals exactly 501, the same word. Okay, let's see what's going on. Even more incredible, if you take the words Ditzach Adash Be'achav, which is for the 10 Makis, Ditzach is Dam, Tzfardeh, and so forth, it equals exactly the same thing. 501. What did we just say? That the whole thing is based on Yitzias Mitzrayim, and the whole thing of the Gula is based on Yitzias Mitzrayim, the Ramchal writes and the Maral, and everybody talks about it. The same gematria is also what? The 10 Makis. What it says is the Maral, the Ramchal, and Guf's Maimar Gula, they say something incredible. They say that the Nisim are just a little sign of what the Nisim are going to be by the Gula. But you see that it's mamish the same numbers. Everything's adding up 501, Obama, everything to Tzachtab, everything. Where are we taking with this? We'll go weiter. The word Barack Obama, you ready for this, is also gematria Nachash, snake, which is 358. What is the snake? Klipa. What's the snake? The snake is Niyuf. What's the tikkun of this world? What's when the Rav Nachman always says the biggest test, Rav Nosson always says from the Rebbe also, the biggest test in the world is tikkun bris, and that's the shirish of all bad and all sorrow and everything. Like the Zohar Kodesh says that all atzvus comes from lack of tikkun bris. If we mitaken our bris, then Mashiach will come right away. That's what the Rebbe says. Rav Nosson said that he realized this is the ikr thing in the world, and this is everything. And all the Svarim talk about this. This is the ikr thing of why we're here. Is to try once. I heard somebody who was plaguing his bris 100 times. Each time he says, "I don't want to do it." Somebody plaguing his bris 1,000 times, Chas Shalom, he says each time, the one who said 1,000 times, I'd be better off in the end. Why? Because he's going to have more retzonos tovim. He's going to have more will. He's going to beg the Abister another 900 times. There's a story that one of the Talmidim came to Rabbi Pinchas famous Rebbe Rabbi Pinchas, and he said to him, Rebbe, I was plugging my bris last night, and he couldn't believe it, meaning he was so torn up that he did it. The Rebbe said, it's okay. He said, Rebbe, but what? He said, you have to understand something. You thought you were a tzadik already. The Abister to show you that you don't run the world. You need him to still watch yourself. You're not a malach. So what do we learn from here? The person, if he falls, it's okay. But we should want to quit it. We should realize that how severe it is, this Avirah, how it's not a good thing. But that is Nachash, Barack Obama, which is the same thing as everything we just said. Okay. By the way, I'm sorry, Barack Obama with the words. It's the same thing. The word Kushi, which means black, we said Shachor before, this is incredible, is the same gematria as the name of Mashiach, which is Menachem ben Amiel, 341. Menachem ben Amiel is 341. It's incredible. Everything is taught into Obama, and everything is taught in, and we brought down from the Midrash of Rajni that it's based on somebody who was a black person. It's very simple. I mean, this is somebody, and we see how his attitude towards Israel, everything in current events. In the beginning, he said never a two-state solution. They gave him an interview a few years later, and he said, no, I didn't mean it that way. And he started being available. He started saying things and answers. You saw his whole, everything shifted. Everything is in the hands of HaShem. Everything is whatever HaShem. HaShem is just, it's all chess. And we have to do tshuva. And look, everything is for tshuva. Everything is just the Abister. Like the Abister said, like it said, the Abister said, I create this world for you, Yiddim. Everything is for us to learn and take a lesson how to do tshuva. Tshuva is one thing. Telling the Abister, thank you for everything you give me. I want to serve you as much as I can. I'm a human being. Help me. That is tshuva. Because that's what the Abister wants. The Abister wants you to turn to him and say, Abister, I can't do it without you. I need you. I cannot move one finger without you. Let alone, how am I going to fight an angel, which is the Samach Mem, when he's come telling me, do this, go to the club, go drink, go do this, go do that, go take drugs, go hang out, go to town, go to... God, I can't do it. Abister, but with you, you created all of it. With you, it's nothing. Help me. I'm begging you, I'm your child. Dad, I'm your child. I didn't pick you picked me to be a child, so that's not something I can even mess up. That's my Nekuda Toivel. That's always the good point we said. I'm a Yid. Because that, I didn't build in myself, the Abister gave me. And that's where I come back to Abister and say, I'm your child, you picked me. Now that you picked me, I'm your child, help me, I'm your child. Father doesn't say no to a child when he sees his son is in tremendous dire need. Let's continue. I was thinking, by the way, so what's America? By the way, everybody says it's Edom. I was thinking, what happens when Mashiach comes? There's news now, everybody was saying they just saw Ramosha Feinstein, that's his son of David, the biggest place in the world. He went to New Jersey, there's somebody who has a paraduma. He's checking it and they say that so far Baruch Hashem, what's paraduma? Why does it have to be aduma? Edom, red. What does the paraduma do? Torah state, the paraduma does, it says, it's mitayr the tumah. So in order to clean up the klippus, you have to come with the other thing of red against the other red. The tumah Edom with the kedusha of Edom. That's why we bring the paraduma, I thought. Baruch Hashem, they gave me this out of nowhere, Baruch Hashem. Let's continue a little bit. Pare, by the way, also, I remember I showed you last week, we won't show over here, but everybody can check it out. Pare, they have the pyramids of Paro. If you look, Paro and Obama look like one drop of the sea. They look exactly alike. It's incredible. The face, the bone structure, everything. It's incredible. This is something that you can't deny. Every person that sees it, just their jaws drop. The answer is that Obama looks exactly like Pare. Now, what are we getting to? Okay, but not even that. This week, we're going to say something that's even more incredible. Also, Michelle Obama, we said, also looks exactly like the wife of Paro, that they also have a pyramid. She looks even more like the wife than Paro looks like Obama. And Obama looks exactly like Paro. So we're getting at their mamish look alike. But more than that, you know what the name Neshel, Mem Yud Shin Lamed equals to? Mitzrayim. 280 exactly. Incredible. Everything is clicking, right? Okay. Another stunning thing is the Sar of Mitzrayim, which we know that by Esav there's a Sar, there's a Sadamalach. The Sar of Mitzrayim, it says in Sororim HaKadoshim, is called Rahav, Reish Heit Beis. The Zohar in Parshas Truma in Kuf Ayin says this, page Kuf Ayin. What is Reish Hey Beis? It's in the same words as Artzot HaBrit, Reish Hey Beis. The name who represents Mitzrayim, the Klippa, is in the name of Artzot HaBrit. Artzot HaBrit is what? Artzot HaBrit is Beis, is Aleph Reish Hey Beis, Reish Hey Beis. All ties in, it's all one big thing. Now, if you look, incredible, if you look when President Obama was going and going campaigning, what was his symbol? His symbol? It was a donkey, split in half. Blue. It was blue, I think, and red, and there was a line, a white line that split it. Why? Because that's what he wants to do. He doesn't even know, but that's what he wants to do. He wants to what? He wants to destroy the donkey of Mashiach. He wants to destroy, God forbid, the Am Yisrael. That's what he wants to do. What's interesting is, a couple of weeks ago, he got up and he had a comedy roast. And he was roasting himself. And one of the things he said was, he made a joke that came out of his mouth, which was so serious. He said something incredible. He said to the effect of, Bibi Netanyahu will be very happy with my funeral in Jerusalem. And people were clapping, but people realized, it says in Psukim that Gog is going to be killed in Yerushalayim. Who knows? He was what? He was foreseeing his own death. He was foreseeing his own Gog death. I mean, and you know what's interesting? Another video, I saw this clip on YouTube, I fell on the floor. Obama went 2 weeks, was in Egypt, he went to the pyramids, he looked at the pyramid and he said, this guy looks like me. I almost fell off my chair. This dude, look, this is me, Goy, this is me, Paroi. Why? The Rizal says that Paroi, Goy is a Gilgal of Paroi. That's how everything fits in now. What do you mean Paroi? We're talking about Paroi. Because Paroi, who comes to Paroi? The Gilgal of Paroi. Who's that Goy? What are we saying that? Yours truly. Shachor, the black person, who everything shifted very quickly, very much not Israel. I don't want to say not pro-Israel because very far from that. And everything fits in, all the gematries, everything. Let's continue. The pasuk in Bereshis, Lamed Vav, pasuk Lamed Aleph, Perek Lamed Vav, pasuk Lamed Aleph. This is incredible. Pasuk says, Ve'ela Melochim. These are the kings Asher Molchu be'Eretz Edom Lefnei Meloch Melech Lefnei Yisrael. Pasuk's talking about Dafko. It's talking about Esav and all these things of Edom and all that, but it's really talking about before the Gula comes, before Melech Lefnei Yisrael. Do you know what the first letters of each word is? And one of the biggest gematries is if you take the first letter of each word. What is it? It's Vav, Hey, Aleph, Mem, Beis, Aleph, Obama. The last before the Jews, the Yiddish king, is going to be President Obama. This is what we have in this pasuk. This is the gematria that each letter, the first letter of each word, is exactly President Obama's name. Is that incredible? One thing after the other is leading us to the same point. Now, there's a pasuk in the Nevuah by Elder Demedod. Elder Demedod were Nevi'im. The pasuk in the Parshas Baloischa in Bamidbar, in Parshas Baloischa, it says, Vayoretz hanar v'yagla Moshe v'yoyim Elder Demedod misnabi b'machane. They're giving a Nevuah. Targum Yonus of Uziel says an incredible thing. What was the Nevuah about? About the war of Gog and Magog. Listen to this. He says, I'll read you the words that he says. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me just find the words. End of days, Gog and Magog. In the end, it says What are those words, kiris itoimis? There was a tremendous makubal from the Lam of Tzadikim that was nifter met a couple years ago. Yoel, you probably know him. You heard of him, Rav Nachmeni, David Nachmeni. Rav Nachmeni spoke about Gog and Magog, how close it is, and he spoke everything about it, and he said, you know what kiris itomis is?
What?
Kiris itomis. Itimos. He said that means kir atom. Elder Meidel were foreseeing kur atom is a nuclear bomb in Hebrew. Do you hear that? Targum Yonis Mazil is talking about Gog and Magog, how it's going to end, and he's talking about the Nevuah of Elder Meidel, which the pasuk that the Torah is talking about. Is talking about what? A nuclear bomb. That's what he said. It says in the pasuk that the Elder Meidel were talking about Gog and Magog, and the Targum Yonis Mazil explains that they were having a Nevuah on Gog and Magog, And it says in the last word, what's going to happen? Kiris iti mois. Kiris is a lotion of cord, he says. Iti mois is atom. He said it's talking about a nuclear bomb. This is a tremendous Makobah from 10 years ago who saw everything, they said. You could check him up, Nachmani, tremendous tzadik, nifter from the lump of tzadikim. What?
Melech Paras. Kumasi.
Yeah, we're going to work into that, exactly. What's interesting is, so you see another thing, you see, okay, let's go a little weiter. What's interesting is, what does a nuclear bomb have to do with it? Because the girl says, the Vilna Gaon says that Gog and Magog is going to be, I think, 3 or 9 minutes. I do not remember, but I remember a very small amount.
You made it long ago.
Yes, the whole Gog and Magog, the girl says. By the way, you know how many people are going to die in Gog and Magog if the people of the world doesn't do tshuva? About 4 billion people. With the nuclear bombs today, it's possible. This was the Goyim was saying this 300 years ago when there was no nuclear warheads. They didn't have any tanks then. They had little rifles, you know. But a tzadik sees everything. And he said it's going to take 3 minutes today. If the whole world's in 3 minutes, the whole world can be destroyed. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody has enough nuclear weapons to destroy the world in 5 seconds. This is what he's saying. Elder Mimeda, this is what Nachmani was talking about. Let's go a little weiter. The Megala Mukais was from a couple hundred years ago. It's a tremendous sefer on Kabbalah. And Kuf Pei Aleph says, Sancheriv, the famous story about Sancheriv in Tanakh, was Nimrod. Who was Nimrod? Now what? Nimrod is Lo'asid Lovoi going to be Gog Magog. By the way, they say that Pare came from Nimrod. What are we getting at? The Midrash Rabbah on this says in Mem Beis Dalid, in Shemoy says, he had 3 names. I'm sorry, not in Shemoy, in Mem Beis Dalid, that he had 3 names. Sancheriv. Kush, Nimrod, Amrophel. I'm sorry to Nimrod. Kush, Nimrod, Amrophel. What's Kush? Medrash says Kushi. What's Nimrod? Parai. What's Parai? We just said the whole thing we're talking about is yours truly. Today's current events. And he says later, and that which you see, Rabbi Avinoo, the Medrash brings down, if you see that all the kingdoms are fighting and arguing with each other at the end of the days, look for the Geula coming, because just like by Avraham Avinoo, when did the redemption come? After he beat Kedar La'omer in all the huge battles. If you look in the Midrashim over there was billions of people in those battles. According to some Midrashim, it was infinite amount of soldiers. It wasn't like a few people. It was infinite. Something. Maisa always in Mabonim. But before we're going, we're going to have to also go through. We're going to have to win. But our winning is the same thing with Avraham Avinoo. Avraham Avinoo, how did he go with Emunah B'tochim? He didn't make an army. He went with him. He said, Abister will help. We have to each have to take that, find the schus in ourselves, and the Nekuda Tayvis, and build it, and build our Emunah B'tochim in the Abister, to get close to Abister and say, we don't care, Gog and Magog bombs, we don't care, nothing's going to happen to us. Hashem loves us. Because it's true. At the end, the Abister created us to destroy us. Abister just says he wants to get close to us, but we have to let him in. The Kutzger Rebbe one time said, they asked him, where is the Abister? He said, wherever you let him in. He wants us to open our hearts to him. That's what we have to do. What's interesting is, the Medrash in Yalkut Shimoni, Psikto, says like this. This is such a famous Yalkut Shimoni from over 800 years ago. Omer Rabbi Yitzchok, Shoneh the year, Shemelech HaMashiach Niglaboy. The Mashiach is going to be revealed. Kol Malchi Umas Oilam, all the nations of the world, the Miskarim Zebezev, going to be having a nice little argument, nice whole war is going to be going on of words and arguments and Knesset and United Nations and everything that's going on. And what's going to happen? Melech Paras, the king of Iran, which is Paras, Misgar the Melech Aravi, is going to scream. That means he's going to have an argument with the king of Aravi. What's Aravi today? Saudi Arabia. They call themselves Saudia, which is called Erev Saudi. That means they call themselves the nation of Arab, which is exactly what he says. What's going to happen? The king of Arab, of Saudi Arabia, is going to go to Edom, which is America, to take advice from them what to do. He's going to go, and what? They're going to go back, and then afterwards Iran's going to get up, and they're going to destroy the whole world. And all the nations of the world are going to be going crazy, and they're going to fall on their faces and go nuts, and Am Yisrael is going to go nuts, and they don't know what to do. And what's Am Yisrael going to do? Turn to the Abister like a Mitzrayim and say, HaShem! And the Abister is going to say, this is all for you, my children. This is time for redemption. Current events, what's going on? If you look, Yemen right now has a tremendous civil war between the Houthis and the the Shiites. Now what happened? Saudi Arabia is with the Shiites. Notice is Iran. Iran is right now trying to build a nuclear bomb. So they have to act with some sort of respect to America and not getting too involved in Yemen. But you see that they're inching closer because they backed the rebels. Now what's going on? Saudi Arabia just went to the White House to be advised because they're worried about the nuclear bomb and they don't want Iran to be spread out in the world. Let's go continue. What is Iran doing? They're sending battleships right now into the ocean over there. They're sending battleships and they're taking them back and forth. But this is exactly what it's saying. They're going to have the machlokes today. It's happening over Yemen. Exactly what it says. Paras, Saudi Arabia. Now let's continue. That's exactly what's going on in Yemen right now as we're speaking. Rabbi Shmuel Levi says, he brings a pasuk. L'chein shomu at etzas Hashem, asher yotz el Edom, u'machshavoisav asher choshev el Yoshvei Teimon. And then it says also on the Geula, Elokai mi Teimon yavo. That's a pasuk in Zechariah and Tes Yudal. It says Hashem b'asher yitoka v'alach b'sawat Teiman. The Gemara in Yuma, Yud Amud Aleph. We'll explain what we're talking about. Al milchama ben Paras v'Roimi. There's the end of days. It's a big war between Romi and Paras, and Romi we say is Edom. That's Rome really today, because there's no Rome, but it says it's the Christian world is Edom, Rome. One man number says that Paras will fall by the hands of Rome, and one says it's machlokes think Rome or the opposite. Now, first of all, before we just saw that everything is a start from Yemen. What did we just say? That the world, according to Yaakov Shimon, is going to start from Iran and Saudi Arabia. It's happening today from Yemen, and it fits into what we just said. All these people, that everything, Hashem's going to come from Yemen. What does that mean, Hashem? It's going to start, the revelations are going to start from Yemen. By the way, we just said, according to one demand, the Omer in Yuma, that Iran will destroy the Rome. Do you know what that equals in Gematria? With the words? Exactly to Tav Shem Ayin Vav. Exactly. Now, do you know what the Gemara in Sanhedrin says in Tzaddik? B'Shana Shishis there's going to be koilas in the world. Shana Shviyas is Shemitah, and Shana after Shviyas Ben David comes. Month of Shviyas Ben David. We're in Shana Shemitah. Tav Shem Ayin Vav is right after Rosh Hashanah, which means that Goy Gemogay has to happen right now, and we see signs. It's exactly what's going on. This is what we're trying to talk about. Why are we talking about this? Why are we even talking about this? Why? I'm not coming to tell you current events. I'm coming to tell you because the Abister is just sending us signs. And the Baal Shem Tov said once that wherever a person's brain is, his mind, and the neshama, that is where he is. How do we get close to Mashiach? By thinking about Mashiach. That's what we said last week. Our job is not to make cheshbonis and kitzin. We're just talking about them, so we should think more about Mashiach, so we can correspond to Mashiach and reveal Mashiach inside of us. Because we said Mashiach is also inside of us. It's us. We have to do tikkunim. Now let's continue a little vital. In Psikta it says, Melech Arvio, Ayin Reish Beis Yud Aleph. Going on that case, on that story of Paras, and do you know what they call themselves today? They don't say Arav Ayin Reish Beis. They call themselves exactly what the Psikta says, Ayin Reish Beis Yud Aleph. I'm just showing you that from Psikta it's literally how they call themselves. There was a person, there was a Talmud from Rav Shol, from the going to Arav Ganichevsky. He was a big, tremendous tzadik from the Chassidus of Chabim. Tremendous Baal Sago. And he asked him, when this whole thing with America and Iran started with the whole nuclear thing, he asked him, he said, Rebbe, is this what the Yaakov Shimon is talking about? He said, phase 1 happened already. This, that they're having the whole machlokes. He says, phase 2 is up to us. What's phase 2? Hashem help us. He said, everything's clearly happening. There's no question. He says, no question. What it says in the Navi is going to happen. So what's our job? Our job is not to start talking to Saudi Arabia. Our job is to say, Hashem help us. Because that's what Hashem wants. Hashem doesn't want us to get involved in the current events. Hashem wants us to talk about it so we get a service to do tshuva. Tshuva, we said, is reminding ourselves that we can't do anything with the Abister and say, Hashem, I'm sorry for everything. Please, let me get close to you. Help me attach myself to you. I don't know how to. Sometimes I don't even want to because of all my boo-boo. But deep down my pain is I do want to. Now, what's interesting is that there's a Mashiach from Chaim of Brisk, there was somebody of Simcha Zelig, who's the Poisik in Brisk. He was the Abister in Brisk. One of his grandsons said he heard from his grandfather, who said B'Shem of Chaim. Chaim of Brisk was from the biggest Gedolim 100 years ago. Chaim of Brisk says like this. that before Mashiach comes, Russia is going to be the strongest power and everybody's going to be scared of Russia. Do I have to say any more? You look at the news, everybody knows Russia is the scariest today. Everybody's scared that Russia, Putin one day he's going to wake up and say, I want to bomb the whole world. He's crazy. Everybody knows. Sorry, Putin, but yeah. If you're watching this. No. But the point is, but be'emes, you see, be'emes it's like that. You see, the Chaim his mom is saying, but he says even more. You ready for this? He says that also Russia is going to take over at the end of times the klipa of Iran. What's the klipa of Iran? It says in Psalms called Du-Vi-El. By the way, today, who's on the side of Iran? Russia. What did Russia just say? They're going to give the S-300 missiles to Iran. But Russia's with the coalition. They're with the coalition of trying to make the whole peace treaty. But they're going to give missiles to Iran. Because Russia plays whatever, Russia is maneuvering. That's exactly what he's saying. You know what's interesting? What's the name of the head of the Rosh Hashanah right now? Medvedev, right? In Russia, his name is Medvedev. Do you know what in Russian what that is? Dov, beer. What did we say the name of the klipa is? Doiviel, beer. Rav Chaim Brisk is saying that they take over the klipa, the president of Russia, his name is beer. Medvedev in Russian is doiv. Incredible, right? Stuff's incredible. Another thing is, if you remember last year, about a year and a half ago, do you know that there was almost a nuclear war? There was. Putin said he almost alerted nuclear bombs to be over the whole thing with Crimea. When they annexed Crimea, which is part of Ukraine, that whole balagan would happen. And what happened was Russia, and right now there's actually a civil war going on, which is, who knows what's going on there every day, but Crimea. Moshe Sternbach on Purim last year got up and said, I have a secret to tell everybody here. Moshe Sternbach, the head of the Eder Charedis, right? I think it's Eder, right? The Gaiver or the Raiver, I forget which one. The point is, tremendous tzadik, he said, he is a grandson of the Vilna Goyim. He said, I have a Messiah from the Vilna Goyim. I'm not allowed to say this, but because it's Purim, the Gemara says that in Purim you can be Megal L'Soidis. There's a heter. He said, it's Purim, so I'm a male, I'm going to tell you. I have a Messiah from the Vilna Goyim. The Vilna Goyim says when Russia reaches Crimea and conquers Crimea, process of Geula is really, it's very close. And when Russia reaches Constantinople, then put on your Shabbos clothes already, because any second. Crimea, like I just said, Vladimir Putin just said he almost started a nuclear war. He said he had no problem starting a nuclear war over it, because he felt 100% that it's his. Everything. You see, first of all, also the das of tzadikim from the Torah. Things in the Torah is incredible. Let's continue. It says in the Yalkut Oiv Yisrael, Reb Mordechai Mislonim brings from the Oiv Yisrael the Abister Rebbe said that in the end of the days, what's going to happen is the whole world, all the ummas of the world are going to be fighting with each other. They're going to think about and try to understand how to get out from fighting each other and try to destroy Am Yisrael, but nevertheless they end up destroying themselves. And he said, when I say this, you could say it in my name as like a nevuah, that it's a nevuah, he said. You know what's amazing? What's going on today? Everybody's trying to destroy Israel, but everybody's destroying each other. Look at ISIS, look at everything that's going on. Everybody coming to Israel. Meanwhile, they're killing all the Kurds, they're killing everybody. This is somebody 250 years ago. Well, none of this stuff existed then. Let's continue. Interesting, the word paras, by the way, is really Russia, which is Russia for Resh. Samach is China. And Pei is for Paras. Today, who are the biggest enemies of America? Everybody knows Russia, China, and Iran. Paras is going to get up. Who's Paras? Not just Paras. America, Russia, and Paras. It's all built into one thing. It's all one big slimy maneuver that they're pulling on us. They're pulling everybody's eyes shut, and they're just floating by. Oh, HaShem knows best. Now, the Yukna of Stalin, the famous Yukna of Stalin, who became the Stalin Rebbe when he was about 9 years old, he had Ruch Kodesh then, people giving fitlich, asking for brachas when he was 9, says like this. You ready for this? This is something incredible, blow your mind. Before Bias Mashiach, he says like this. China is going to be so strong before Mashiach comes that it's going to destroy, you ready for this? New York, Paris, and London in less than 3 minutes. This is in a sefer. Now let me ask you a question. You lived over 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Do you know China 150 years ago was a no country? Do you know, by the way, that there was no atomic bomb 100 years ago? So how's it possible? Oh, it's possible. Tzadikim. Exactly what we're saying. London, that's what he said.
Yeah,
Ukraine is Baruch Hashem, we live in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, now let's get to the next page, and then we. Now, in Sefer Leket Rishimis, they bring down from the Mishgiach. There was a tremendous Mishgiach in Lakewood. There was nifter quite a while ago already. He was famous of Nosson Wachtfogel. They said about Nosson Wachtfogel, they always had under his bed a trunk with a shirt and a shofar and a talis just for Mashiach. Tremendous Oived Hashem, everything. He said b'shem Rav Aaron Kotler, Yeshiva of Lakewood, the famous Gaon, Tzadik, Ruach HaKodesh, everything. Rav Aaron Kotler. Rav Aaron Kotler said that in the times of World War I, they asked the Chavetz Chaim, is this the Macham of Gog Magog? And he answered to everybody the same thing. That Gog Magog is going to be 3 parts, like we said last week. First part is now. The second part is going to make the first part look like child's play, which World War II, the concentration camps made World War I look like just a walk in the park. And the next thing is going to be, then there's going to be another break, and then the third is going to make both of them look like child's play. Now, and then Mashiach comes with HaShem. The same thing is brought in Sefer Lev Eliyahu from the famous Rabbi Eliyahu Lapian, tremendous tzadik Sefer that, by the way, if you want to work in your Emunah, tremendous Sefer for Emunah and Machshav, a tremendous Sefer for Lev Eliyahu, Eliyahu Lapian. He says the same thing from Shem Elchanan Basumi. That the first World War I was part 1 from Gog and Magog, World War II was part 2, and then the next is right before Mashiach. Now, like this. Rabbi Shulei Diskin, who was the Rebbe of Yerushalayim, who was a tremendous mikobel, everything. Rabbi Shulei Diskin was everything. Tremendous Ish Elokim, said that the last Milchama before Mashiach, the only ones that are going to be saved are going to be the people who have Charoda from the Abister. Why are Charedim called Charedim? Not because they wear a hat or because they're afraid, they tremble, they have Yiras Hashem. So the only ones who have really Yiras Hashem are going to be saved in Gog and Magog. What's Yiras Hashem? Yiras Hashem is not that you don't fall. Everybody falls. We're human. And not crying and being depressed after, because that's not either. Yira doesn't mean that. Yira means, of course Yira means you have to be, of course, you're afraid of Oynish and Gehenim. Yira is, I'm afraid, not on the punishment of the physical punishment of up there, whatever the punishment is, the punishment of being away from Hashem, because every Avera puts you further away from Hashem. That is called real fear. That is a fear of a tzadik. Abba, punishment, I don't care about punishment. The biggest punishment to me is I feel distance from you. I feel a distance. I feel distant from you. Abish, to bring me back into your life. I want you in my life. That is what Yira is. A couple of weeks ago, or a while ago, this year, Tzvi Meyer Zilberberg was a big Mekobler, and Yisrael got up and he said, we spoke about this last week, and he said that he heard the shame people that was in Yeshiva Tarvadas that heard from Avraham Pam. Rav Pam, as we know, was a tremendous tzadik, honor of everything, from the Gdolei Ador in America. Baruch Hashem, I was zeichet to see him. Tremendous honor of tzadik. Once a story that a kid came to Rav Pam just to show who he is, and he said to Rav Pam, he said, Rebbe, one of the kids cursed. He meant some, not the greatest of words. So Rav Pam said, wait, he said the shut word? I thought the kid said shut up. For him, that's how incredible his Yiras Hashem, Nahav's Hashem was. He said that I heard from Chana Wasserman in 1938. The famous story was when Chana Wasserman came to collect in 1938. They wanted him to stay because of what's going on. He said, I can't leave my Talmidim. He went back and he went on to the trains and they took him and they never killed him in Auschwitz. In his Sefer Shiur, he talks about, they wrote, somebody who escaped, wrote down the speech. Chana Wasserman.
Wasn't he shot in the house?
He wasn't. He was killed in the concentration camp. And on the way on the train, he gave a speech to everybody that was there, and he said, listen, we're karbonis to Abister, we cannot have any bad machshava because then we'll be pigel. He gave a tremendous speech, a speech that will give you such an iris. It's in Kevin Shiur, you can look at it. I think in Chelik Aleph, or I forgot if it's in Chelik Aleph or Beis Nagadoma, but the point is, he said, Rabbi Chana Wasserman told me from Ruach HaKodesh I got, listen to this, Gog and Magog first part was World War I, that started in 1914. World War II, he's saying this b'shem Chavetz Chaim. World War II was the biggest time of Chavetz Chaim. World War II which will be 25 years later exactly, which was 25 years later exactly. Why? 1939 from 1914 was 25 years later exactly it started. Will be World War II and it'll make it child's play. And then 70 years, exactly 70 years later, 7 Shemitahs later is what? Is the last time Mashiach will come. That's what the Chofetz Chaim said. Tovshin Ayin Hei, 1945 to 2015 is 70 years, right? Now, what are we getting at? We're in crazy times, boys. Let's wake up. Now, let's continue a little bit. I want to tell you something very, very amazing. Also, Chaskel Levenstein also said this. Chaskel Levenstein said the same thing from the Chofetz Chaim. Chaskel Levenstein from the big Mashiach and Amir and Panovich, he said the same thing about the first part and the second part. Now, do you know what? Yud Shmitas is gematria? The letter Yud and Shmitos. It's gematria Tavshin Ayin Hey exactly. Our year. Incredible. Everything. This is the Torah. The Torah is just Keim Chayenu. Now. Rabbi Yosef ben Porat, he's actually a tremendous beit tzadik who's living today. He also said the Shem Chofetz Chaim, so he heard also from his way the same exact thing. That 25 years after is going to be World War II, which is going to be the second part, and then 7 Shemitahs after is going to be the big war, and then Mashiach comes. There's a tremendous Mekobel that lives in our neighborhood over here actually. His name is Rav Sasson Tabashi. He's about 106 years old. We spoke about him last week. He was a tremendous, very close, tremendous. First of all, he's tremendous Mekubal and tzadik. He said he has Gilui David HaMelech, unbelievable things. He was like this with Rav Kaduri. They were best friends. Rav Kaduri said that everything is, he could save everything, but he wants to bring the Gula closer through the tzaras, because tzaras brings the Gula closer. Rav Sasson Tabashi, it was foresaw the Lebanon war. The day the Twin Towers fell in Israel 7 hours before, a couple of hours before, he said today there's going to be a huge thing that's going to change over the whole world. And Baruch Hashem, I saved a lot of Yidden from it, from my tefillas. A couple of hours later, boom, Twin Towers fell. He said a couple of weeks ago that David HaMelech was Megal to him. He said he finished the past 70 or 80 years or 90 years of his life, he's been finishing Tehillim before even Netzach Hama comes. That means he's up already at 2 o'clock, and who knows when he finishes the whole Tehillim. David HaMelech said that the week after Shavuos is going to start a huge war, which is starting next week. It's going to lead all the way till Sukkot. It's going to be a very, very hard time, and then after Sukkot, Mashiach is going to come. And whoever wants to be saved has to do tshuva. And he said a tremendous thing. He said one of the eitzos was, he said you should say a lot of Tehillim, beretzef, without being mafsik. Say a lot of Tehillim, he says. A lot of people are bringing from the source. What's interesting is that we have to listen to the tzadikim. Tzadikim are the Nevim. It says there's no Nevim today, so the tzadikim the Makkam Nevim. Tzadikim say the Gedor say something, you take it for granted. That they know what they're talking about. Now, another thing is, we spoke about the Balatanya, the tremendous Balatanya. Balatanya said, the last week we said from Balatanya, the Balatanya one time got a Kriyas Torah, and he said, read over the pasuk of Ve'es ha'elef u'shva V'sheva. V'chamisha v'shivim. It's talking about the Mishkan with the Mudim and the beams and all that. And the Balatanya read it, not V'esa Elef, Hey Elef. He read it 5,000, not the 1,000, 5,000. And the person who was there kept on correcting him, saying, Rebbe. And he corrected him 4 times, and each time he kept on saying, with it, Tzeri. Hey Ella, 5,000, not 1,000. They came to the Rashab. They came to the Mittel Rebbe, the son of Balatani. They asked the Mittel Rebbe, they said, Mittel Rebbe, what's the pshat? What's here? He said, when he was reading that, he had a nevuah of Mashiach, and it was that year for Tavshin Ayin Hey. Why Tavshin Ayin Hey? What are we talking about? Why Dafka Tavshin Ayin Hey our year? What was the Balatani saying? If you look in the pasuk, Hey Elef is 5,000. Shvamot, it says in the pasuk 700. Chamisha is 5. And then another 70, 5775, our year. Balatani was talking about our year, and they asked, somebody's name is his name is Rabbi Groner, he was right-hand man to the Kutzger Rebbe. He asked the Kutzger Rebbe years ago, and he said, Rebbe, this Maisel, that from the Mittel Rebbe and the Balatanya, is this an emes like a Maisel? And the Rebbe said, it's 100% emes. The Balatanya was talking about Mashiach, and he read it, Hey Elef. Now we said a different cheshbon last week, that not just that it's 5775, we said Hey Elef is 5,000 years of creation. Shva Ma'ot is the 7 years of Chevle Mashiach. We said already from the Inquisitions and all that. Then we said What? Chamisha is 5 years of the Holocaust, and then what? Shivim, the Shivim that we just spoke about from the Chavetz Chaim. That's what the pasuk was talking about. We wanted to say maybe that thing. Now, let's continue. We have a few more minutes, and then also, Rav Arush said, by the way, B'Shem his Rebbe was one of his Rabbeim, was Rebbe Leibovich, who was from the head of Lamb of Tzadikim, according to many. Vosner, all those big tzadikim used to go to him. He was a scary person. He's buried in Bnei Brak. People go from all walks of life to daven by his kever. Tremendous, he saw everything. He said to Rav Arush, before Mashiach comes, there's going to be three things. First thing before Mashiach comes is that all the Arabs are going to be destroying each other. Exactly what's going on today. Second thing is people will not end up destroying the atomic bomb of Iran, which we see today. He's doing nothing about that. And the third thing he says is, Rav Arush said the third thing I didn't want to say for years, but now I have to say because I want Jews coming up. In America, there's going to be pogroms against the Jews right before Mashiach, and there's going to be basically a civil war, and everybody's going to be starting with the Jews. Now, there's a person named the Rimon of Rebbe. He lives in America, in Brooklyn, in Borough Park. Remember that story with Nebuch when Leib Kletsky, the kid was Nebuch killed? He wrote out a map and showed through his, he said, he mapped out exactly where the kid was without ever meeting him, nothing through Ruach HaKodesh. Now I heard, Yitzchak Morgenstern is from the biggest Mukubalim, from the biggest Balasogis, who's the real deal, sent somebody, now when the three boys were kidnapped and killed, he sent to the Rebbe of Rebbe that he should do the same thing, which just shows that he's not somebody's stam. He said in a shiur in Miami, Florida, he was in Miami, and he said, Yidden, I'm telling you to leave America now because there's going to be a huge civil war and there's going to be no federal, and everybody's going to be killing everybody, and this is going to lead up to the big thing, and if they let me from Shemayim go up, I'd go myself, but I can't. But this is exactly what Leibovich was saying, the last thing. Oh, sorry?
When did he speak American?
I don't remember this year. It was this year sometime. Now, one last thing. Reb Chaim Kanievsky, by the way, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, it's all over the news. Reb Chaim Kanievsky just said, they got to believe L'achim, and somebody, one of the very close people to Reb Chaim Kanievsky said, I got it from somebody who's Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and it came from his grandson, Yaakov Kanievsky. Reb Chaim Kanievsky said, go around with a ramkol, with a microphone, and scream in the streets that Mashiach is about to come. We're on the doorstep of Mashiach, and whoever wants to be saved has to do tshuva. And he said, Mashiach is coming Motzei Shvius. Somebody just went into me, he said, Rebbe, people are denying it. He said, tell them again, he's coming. So his grandson turned to me and said, Saba, Be'emet, I should go around with a ramkol, to walk around with a microphone? He said, yes. Tell that there's no chironim, there's no charedim. Everybody can be saved, do teshuvah. This is what Chaim Kanievsky happened about a month ago. This was all over the news, and it was in Lev La'achim, it was all over. Now, we're getting to the last thing. Just now, ISIS, which is Daesh, right? What's ISIS? ISIS is these terrorists that are all over the world and destroying Syria and Iraq, which, by the way, is all about Bavel, because Bavel has to be destroyed. Bavel's Iraq, and Syria is about Melech Nero, Nero is Assad. We're not going to get into that, but we will touch on something. They captured a tremendous city. You know what it says? The city is called Tadmor. Taf Dalet Mem Vavresh. It was all over Palmyra. Palmyra in Hebrew is Tadmor. You know what it says in the Reishis Rabbah? The pasuk says, "Ki borach avarechacha, bracha la'av." When a father gives a bracha to his child, habe av years zarecha, and they'll have a lot of inheritance. The children, it's shar oivav. They will inherit their inheritance. Means Yidden will go forth and be strong. Rebbe the Tana says, it's going on the which Tarmoid, this place where ISIS just captured. Now, what does he say? This city Tarmoid, praised is the one that sees the falling of Tarmoid, that were shutaf and they were partners in the destruction of both Bate Mikdash, the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, both of them. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Chanina said that in the Churban Bayis Rishon they sent 80,000 archers to destroy the Jewish nation, Shem Yishmor, and in the Churban Sheni they sent 8,000 archers. The Yerushalmi and Tainus, listen to this. Yerushalmi and Tainus says, Am Rabbi Yochanan, Ashrei mi shero'a b'mapalosa shel Tarmoid. Because the same thing, they were shutafim in the Churban Beis HaMikdash. You know what it says in Divrei Hayamim? Vayiven es Tadmor b'midbar. Rashi says over there, what's Tadmor? Tarmudim. Tarmudim today is what they call Palmyra, what they say in English, which ISIS just conquered. You know, ISIS just did. They killed 700-800 people in about a few hours when they went in there. It's the oldest ancient Roman city still standing, and everybody's afraid they're there right now. There's a whole siege going on as we're speaking. That's exactly what it's talking about. Tadmor falling. Praise. Praise us, we saw it. We're seeing it. Now, hold on. Rashi Malachim says, by the way, Tamar is really Tarmodim. Now, also, it's talking about over there also about the falling. You know what the Imri Emes in Ger says in Chanukah? He says the city, Tadmor, really is talking about the Yetzirah. Daesh and ISIS, they're just doing the job for us. They just want to sit and learn. They're going to destroy all the Yetzirah. And then they'll be whatever. Maybe should just taking these people of no, they just want to destroy ours. They say they want to come to Israel. Meanwhile, they're stuck in Syria because they have to fall. Everybody has to fall over there because it's all based on Gilgulum. It says in the Medrash, everything Hashem's going to pay back all the Gilgulum, all the Goyim that paid us, that tried to destroy us. Everywhere it's wasteland over there. Iraq, Syria, everything. This is exactly what's going on today. Now, hold on. We're coming to the best part. Rav Yitzchak says, we said, Shana Shemelech Mashiach Nigalaboy. What do we say? Melech Parasas and have an argument with Saudi Arabia. You know what it says over here? It says on Teiman. You know what it says in the pasuk? Elokai mi Teiman Yavo. We just brought that pasuk before, right? That's going to start from Yemen. Another thing. It says V'gam v'chosu gvorecha Teiman v'man yachis ishmaer asu miktal. You know, and it goes on the falling of Edom, which is we said is Edom. Do you know what that pasuk says? Who are the rebels? How do you call them today? The Houthim, right? You know how you say it in Hebrew? Achutim. That's what it says in the pasuk. We just read the pasuk. V'chatu giborecha. Chatu is the Houthim. That's exactly what's going on in Yemen. Exactly what it says. The Houthis gonna have a rebellion, and in Saudi Arabia, Iran are gonna have machlokes. Saudi Arabia went to America. It's straight out of a fantasy book. Chas v'shalom, but amazing. Everything fits in. Now listen to this. It says in the pasuk in Vayikra Chaf, we just read it. In Emor, I think it is, right? V'hisig, not in Emor, in I'm sorry, I forgot which parasha. I'm sorry. V'hisig lechem dayish et batzir. I'm sorry, it's in Bechukais. No, it's just it's in one of the few last parashas. It says v'chosu. I'm sorry, it says dayish et batzir. What's dayish? Dal Yuchim, but it's also dayish. What's batzir? A couple weeks ago, they just captured a city in Iraq called Batzra, based tzadik Reish Hey. You know what it says after that? It says Ubetzir in the pasuk Yasik Zera. What's Zera? Zera equals 277. What else equals 277? Saudia. Samach Vav Reish Aleph is 277. Right after this is the falling of Syria, which is Damascus. It says over there that when Neron, the king of Neron, is the head of Damascus. Neron, by the way, is Gematria to Assad also. I forgot how that works exactly, but I remember one of my friends was telling me, we were talking about it, and I saw somebody brings it down. What's going to happen? Damascus didn't fall, and then it says Mashiach is going to come. The last thing is the falling of Damascus before Mashiach comes. Why? It says in the pasuk, "V'chaltem lachem," you eat your bread to your bounty, l'soivim v'yishachnu beta ba'artzechem. Now we have one last piece, 2 minutes, and then we're done. The Zohar in Be'er says, in that time, Yisayir Am Echad, the whole world will get up. Well, I'm sorry, one nation in the world will get up, and he will gather all the nations, and they're going to go up, and they're going to try to fight the Abister Ki'ilu. And what's going to happen? The Abister is going to destroy them, and then what's going to happen? Like it says, Ki Zevach LaHashem beBatzra. By the way, beBatzra works out exactly what we just said, Batzra, like from ISIS, Daesh, but that's not the point I'm bringing, but that's just a side thing I wanted to say. Another thing I wanted to say was, what does it say after? It says, Kosav le'achaz b'knofis ha'aretz v'yochel es b'nei Yishmael mimena v'yishbar al achilis koicha shel ha'maylo v'lo yishar koich ha'maylo al ha'am shel ha'melech ela koyach v'yisrael levadoy zeh shekosav Hashem tzilch yad minecha. Hashem will save us with the right hand. What does that mean? You know what Rav Nachmani, the same Kubal, said? Who is this going to be, this last thing that's going to get up and get? Kates. The end. What's Kates? Tzafon Korea, North Korea. I don't know if you know that North Korea right now is testing nuclear ballistic missiles to destroy the whole world. And he has no problem destroying the whole world, and they're actually afraid. This is what Nachmani said, and he said in a speech in front of thousands of people, and it's all over YouTube. I saw my own eyes. He said, don't think it's just going to be Russia. It's going to be North Korea coming to Yerushalayim to come destroy it. Today it's possible. You know, through China I saw last year, they have a missile that can go 5,000 miles. They could put on a nuclear, right? 5,000 miles. They could put on, what's it called?
GPS?
I'm sorry? No, not a GPS. A bomb on the missile. What's it called?
A drone?
Huh?
A drone?
No. Okay.
A bomb on the missile?
On the missile, and then you put the nuke on the missile. There's a word for it. It's okay. Baruch Hashem.
A Hadron?
Now, by the way, what's interesting is Avraham Avinoo and the Kutzger Rebbe both said that these are the words, the letzte stantia in Gullus is America. What does that mean, letzte stantia? The last stance, the last place where the Jews are going to be in Gullus is America. That's what they said. It's written in this form. Exactly what today. You see all the Jew in America besides Israel. Now, one last thing, which everybody's talking about, and I want to speak about it, and I heard some inside information about it. Everybody's talking about the past few years, and especially this year, about all the noises all over the world, in the sky, and shofars, and everything's blowing all over the world, and it's all over YouTube, and all the... What's happening is that people are filming, thousands of people are filming these huge, it sounds like a trumpet blast from all over the sky, and the scientists are trying to figure it out, and the scientists coming up with crazy things. It has to do with reactions, it has to do with that the world is expanding, and then it goes back, so it makes noises. Now, it's all over YouTube. If you want to check up strange sound noises in the atmosphere, or in Hebrew, Gog, Magog, Korot, Shofrot. It will be exactly the same thing. And all the tikshoret, all the media, everybody's talking about it, and scientists are actually sitting and trying to figure it out, and there's videos all over. There's a Gemara. We know the Gemara knew everything way before. Just like the Gemara said 2,000 years ago, the world was round. Rajbi said, only till 700 years ago, people thought it was flat. And besides that also they thought there was only 8,000 stars in the world until they got a microscope and realized that there's infinite. And the Zohar says also, what infinite meaning? There's 8 trillion gazillion. The Gemara says in Tzadik Zayin Amid Aleph, the Shona Shishis Koilas, we said before, is going to be noises. Shvius is Milchama, which is this year, and Motzah Shvius Ben David. Rashi says two pshatim. Second pshat in Shofars, Rashi says Metzias is going to be sounds of Shofars all over the world. Last year. This year is Shvius, which we just said is everything we just spoke about. Now, Rav Arush, in Uman, this past Uman, I already knew about this whole thing, but he got up and he said, listen, people are talking about the shofars. And he said, there's no question there's something going on. Or Zamir Cohen spoke about it, and all the big tzaddikim spoke about it, and they said everything. Rav said a very good point, which I wanted to make. He said, first of all, we don't come up with when Mashiach is coming. All this, like I said, is not really for when Mashiach, it's to wake us up to start doing tshuva. Now the question is, by the way, it says it's also to start thinking about when it's going to come, the ending. That's not so pashut because the Malvin does say you're allowed to, because only then, 100,000 years ago, they said it's usher. But now that we're much closer, you already could. Why? Because he brings a mashal. A kid goes with his father to the store. When right in the beginning he says, Tati, when are we going to be there? The father says, don't ask me. But when they're close, the father says, ready, another minute. Same thing now, we're so close, we could ask. That's an aside thing. But, like we just said, Rav Arush said a good point. He says, it doesn't make a difference still. We have to continue learning, we have to continue davening, we have to continue trying to be Mekarav Am Yisrael, Mekarav the world to Emunah, this Spoidus Shah, watch our eyes, do a Spoidus, look for the good points in each other, learn and live by the Eitzes of Rabbeinu, the Rebbe. The Abister gave such a present in Rabbi Nachman, that last generation, the Rebbe said that I can make you like me. And he meant it literally if he said that. We have such amazing things that the Rebbe gave us, which all the other shurim, like we spoke about, was much more all about Breslov and all that. This year, but just we can never forget the Rebbe, because everything Baruch Hashem's in the Rebbe, Bekoich the Rebbe, Bekoich the Abister Avada, but the Abister Baruch Hashem gives him matana. And we have to do tshuva. Now, somebody told me, a friend of mine in Yeshiva, he told me he drove Rav Arush to a Makobel named Rav Shneir. I don't know if this Rav Shneir, it could be it was one Nebuch who was just nifter, but he was a tremendous Makobel, Moroccan Makobel, and he said, this is what I heard in my own ears. Rav Shneir turned to Rav Arush and said, you know that Mashiach is here right now in Eretz Yisrael. So it was 2.5 years ago about. Rav Arush said, I know. Rav Shneir said, not just that, but I hear the Melchama already in the sky. I hear Gog Magog in the sky. Now the Gemara says in many places that in the end the Nevuah is going to be given to the Shaitim. They say today the Shaitim is not really Shaitim, it's autistic kids. Autistic kids have tremendous HaNeshamas, the Chazon Ish wrote a sefer on it, Reb Steinman, they say is very in touch with them. One time an autistic kid came in, Reb Steinman said, lo dibano kamazman, they started like, we didn't speak, it's like a connection. And the autistic kids are also saying that Gog already started in Shemayim and we're mamish at the end, and everybody's do tshuva. Not going to get into that, we get into different times, it's basically more Balbastro. But these shofars are a real thing, and it's another thing. But again, all this shir was to come down to one thing, to talk about Mashiach, because we have to talk about it because the Baal Shem Tov said, the Helig Baal Shem Tov, or Shivas Megratius, where the person's machshava is where he is. So if his machshava is where Mashiach is, that's where he is. He's part of the Chelik of the Gula. You can't see Hashem, but your machshava you want to see, you're with Hashem. Everything's about the machshava. This is nothing. This is just a little vehicle. The person in the vehicle. Where's the vehicle? You don't go, oh, where's your vehicle? You go, where are you? Where's your neshama? It's not where your body is. You could be sitting in China and you could be being over Hashem like anything. Because if your neshama is with the Abister, your mind, you're with the Abister, and that's it. You have to bind yourself to Abister. Bezat Hashem, we should be zeichet to Gula Shleima, but without all these wars, because like we said, the Mashiach come any second, and like the tzadikim, every time they heard a noise, they jumped and they thought Mashiach was coming. And Bezat Hashem, we will have it. When we talk to Zadina, you want to have all these mechamas. The mechamas only be them. Goyim will be only by the goyim. And not all the goyim, the righteous goyim, Bezat Hashem, also they should have a part. Why not? They have Amunah, they have Shiur, like the Kutzger Rebbe said. You have to makar them also with the Shem Mitzvah Noach. But the ones that are trying to Chas V'Shalom being with all the fear and because like there are flog, they shall be destroyed, and they should stop bugging us. We should be zeichet to see the Iris of Mashiach. And Bezat Hashem next week we should be zeichet to have another share and speak more about what is going to be after Mashiach, all the depth and Kabbalah about what is going to be after Mashiach. Bezat Hashem, shenizkeh b'meirav yameinu amen.